So without further ado, let's talk a little bit about MLS. Last year over the summer, things were a little bit depressing. We'd have meetings and everybody'd mope in and mope out. Wasn't near as much fun as we're having tonight. And the celebration was the first event where we started to get a glimmer that things might be changing. So these are slides from last year. What were we talking about a year ago? The headlines from NAR a year ago first started in January. It said, pending home sales rise, the market is on an uptrend. And everybody was like, yeah, right. So then we got to February, and it said, pending home sales ease in February, but they're solidly higher than a year ago. So they're a little bit lower, but that's typical for February, but it's higher than it was a year ago. And then March, pending home sales rise again, and they said the word, the market's recovering. And everybody was smiling. It's like, yay, that'd be good. So where are we a year later? If you look at the last couple of headlines out of NAR, back in January it said pending home sales up in every single region. So that was a big plus for the whole country to be experiencing the upswing at the same time. And then in February we got the same thing we got last year. Pending home sales slip, but it's due to low inventory, which typically low inventory tends to drive the prices up, so that's not all bad. We kind of like that. So if you look at it, not only is the inventory down, you can see in the actual data that's been changed seasonally, we are seeing prices start to trend up at the national level, and we're seeing that as well. I'll show you in just a minute in the New River Valley. The really cool thing is when you look at pending home sales, and if you're wondering what that is, it's a ratio that's unique to NAR and to realtors. We can tell what's under contract. Nobody else knows that. We do. So it's a ratio of what's under contract. What's happening that's really exciting now, of course, February was a little bit lower. It was 0.4% lower, but our February was 8.4% above where we were last year this time when we talked. So that's really fantastic. And if you look at the numbers, we are at the second highest level in 3 years. The last time it was this high was when we had those tax incentives. So the fact that we're back up to the level when we had the tax incentives, that's also amazing. So it's looking really good. Saeed's here. He knows me from my former life. I used to be a price analyst with agricultural economics, and we talked about support. When you have a major support line, anytime a number comes down and challenges it and bounces back up, that's an excellent sign. So what we've seen is a challenge to the support line of the existing home inventory. We saw it challenge 13-year lows, could not break it, bounce back up. Another excellent sign that we're headed in the right direction. I am a huge fan of Lawrence Yun, and if we are able to this year, we're going to really try to bring Lawrence to the New River Valley. He is the head economist for NAR, and he's recognized as one of the top economists in the world, so it would be wonderful to be able to have him. Lawrence says that the reason the inventory is down has to do with the fact that new construction has not started back up again. And what he's seeing is the big builders that can access Wall Street funds, sell stock, have other equity ways of achieving financing. That's who's doing the building right now. He says the recovery is really not going to take effect until we can get the small home builders involved again. And he says what's really holding the small home builders back is the community lenders. So I'm really happy to have the community lenders in the room. They're going to be a big part of the recovery and financing the new home builders. And what Lawrence Yun is saying is what we really need is some relief as it comes to the legislative constraints. There's a regulatory burden on lenders to help fund that new construction. So that is something both NAR is working towards, VAR, the Bankers Association. We're all in this boat together. That's the next thing that we've got to take care of for the recovery to really take off. And we're all there working towards that. So what's up locally? Enough about the national scene. What can we see happening here? When you look at these charts, and I'll be glad to post these on the website so that you can look at those later, I have some year-to-date figures, but what I'm really looking at here is what's happened 2011 versus 2012. So far, at the end of 2012, units were up, volume was up, average days of market was down in 2012, which is really good. Sold versus asked was down, list price went up, and the average selling price went up. So all of those indicators are looking pretty good for 2011 versus 2012 in the New River Valley. The one thing that really knocked my socks off, I heard somebody, I'll go ahead and give credit where credit's due. Jeanette Boyd was in a committee meeting a couple weeks ago, and the comment Jeanette made was, what is on the market right now has either really been on the market a really long time, or it's priced right and it's moving really fast. We're seeing multiple offers, everybody's really busy, so the key to the market is pricing things right. So as I was looking at statistics, I was looking for proof of what Jeanette had said, and I think the proof is right here. If you look, 460 units sold the first week they were advertised. And if you look at what sold the first week, its ratio, list price to sale price, was 99%. So I hope you'll take the statistics and share it with all your buyers, your sellers. If they'll price it right, it is possible to move it really fast, and we've got the statistics to back it up in the New River Valley. What's hot and what's not? I also heard somebody talking about what's not, but let's look at what's hot. Price range 75 to 100,000 with at least 2 to 3 bedrooms. Price range 150 to 200,000, 200,000 to 300,000. With at least 3 bedrooms. I was shocked to see that 272 houses sold with 4 bedrooms in the 150 to 200,000 category. I didn't expect that. For the what's not, I heard this from Skip Slocum with CHP. Skip was saying we will never build another low-income house that's only got 2 bedrooms. And what you can see here is below 75,000, the average days on market for the 2 or less bedrooms was 260 and 202. So that's what's not hot. Don't recommend any 2-bedroom homes anytime soon. What's up locally? If you look here, the beige line, it's what's happening in 2012 and 2013. For February in the New River Valley, the units sold for single-family residential are up. If you look at the volume is also up for 2013 in February. And it has been up for most of the year. If you look at the median price, it is also up and looking pretty high compared to the last 3 months. But what's next? What's looming on the market? Last year I made 2 predictions, and I got it 50% right. I said we're probably looking at higher interest rates, and we're probably looking at higher prices. Which one did I blow? The higher interest rates, thank God. If I had to be wrong on one, that's the one I wanted to be wrong on. So we're wrong about higher interest rates, and as I go to the NR meetings and I listen to Lawrence Yoon, what he's talking about is interest rates staying fairly flat this year. Might start to see those edge up this year or next year. But here's what's in the news right now, March 29th, and this is coming from Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae's economists predict existing home sales will rise by 10.5% this year and by 6.2% in 2014. But they made even bolder projections for new single-family home sales. They think that the new single-family home sales are going to go up 15.1% this year, and get this, 40% next year. Anybody like those numbers? Yeah. So we'll have even more fun next year this time and see what that looks like. So, how do you like what next? I see some grins. I see some happy faces. I'm totally looking forward to having another wonderful year with you in the New River Valley. And now, I think it's time to reintroduce Dave Sheeler so he can turn the microphone on to the lovely ladies who are going to do the awards.